Hi guys, in today's workout we're going to cover 2 circuits and then we're going to combine them at the end. So it's quite a tough one. We'll start off with your warm-up exercises first. There's just 4 exercises. We're going to do them for 45 seconds. They're dynamic stretches, so we're going to move in and out of the movements, and then we're going to start our workout. Today's workout is going to require you to have some dumbbells. You can have different dumbbells depending on the exercise. I'll let you know which ones are harder than the others, but it's wise to have dumbbells up to around about 7 or 8 kilos. Down to 2 kilos. I'm going to use these ones today. Have your dumbbells ready for the workout. So we'll start with your warm up first of all. 45 seconds. First exercise, you're going to step backwards, reach down and across, and go from left to right. I'm going to show you from 2 angles. We're going to work for 45 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and let's go. I'm going to use my iPad for the timer today. So you're stepping backwards, reaching down and across the extended leg. As you can see, the front leg's extended. I'm squeezing my quad. I'm rotating my upper body, always reaching down and across the extended leg, not the other leg, okay? So from the front, it looks like this. I want you to continue to move. We're coming into your last 20 seconds, and then we're gonna go into your next warm-up exercise. Sit nice and low, increase that stretch with each movement, making sure the front leg is straight by squeezing that quad, flexing the back knee. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so the next exercise what I'd like you to do is you're going to go into a squat and you're going to reach forward to get that stretch in the hips and then come back up again. Doesn't matter if you flex back slightly with this one. 3, 2, 1. So sit nice and low, really reach forward and then come back up again. Get that stretch in the lower back and the hips. As you can see, I've got a wide stance from the side. You're pushing the hips backwards, keeping that chest tall as much as possible. You'll get a bit of flexion on the spine. The idea is to get a stretch through the hips, through the lower back. So you've got that wider stance, the feet are slightly turned out. Keep up nice and tall. And then sit into it as low as possible, avoiding any heel rise at all. Keep them flat to the floor, push them into the floor. Push your hips backwards. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the next one we're going to go down to the floor. And we're still going to work those hips and lower back. Quite a nice stretch this one, quite an easy one. You're going to be in this position, hands, knees, push backwards, sit into the stretch. You'll stretch your quads, your lower back. You'll stretch the shoulders. 3, 2, 1, and let's go. So you're pushing into it, sitting nice and low, extend the arms, flex the hips, come back up again, and in and out of that movement. Really push the hips backwards, get the stretch through the lower back as well. It's quite a nice one, this one. Got one more, and then we get into your workout. So you need those dumbbells ready. That's it, nice and low into it. We're coming into your last 20 seconds. When you sit into this, you're aiming to sit onto your heels. You're keeping your arms straight by squeezing your triceps. And then you're coming back into the neutral position, coming into your last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so last warm-up exercise now. We're going to work the arms. We're just going to open them out as much as possible. Turn out the palms to the sky. Bring them in, cross them over so we're stretching the back. And then open out again. So the idea here is you're stretching the chest and the back at the same time. We're going to work for 45 seconds as we have been. So from the side, you're opening out your chest, you turn the palms out, you cross the arms over, you turn the hands in. Okay, and you alternate which one is on top with each rep. We're going to work into that now for 45 seconds, and then we're into your workout. Keep your arms in a position where they're horizontal and you're not got no angles on them. And turn them palms out when you open out those arms to really get a stretch through the chest. Also, get the stretch through the back. We're going to work in for another 10 seconds before we're going to start your workout. You're almost there in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to keep it nice and simple to start off with. The exercises you may be familiar with. Then we're going to choose some harder ones, and then we're going to combine them. So we've got 3 sets at this. Each exercise we're going to do is going to be for 45 seconds, okay? So we're going to take your weights first of all. Your first exercise is going to be on the legs. We'll do a front squat. So that means we have to bring the weights up to the shoulders and ideally rest them on the shoulders. We don't want them away from the shoulders because we're going to overwork the biceps if that's the case. We're going to work for 45 seconds and then we'll move on to the next exercise. We'll have around about 15 seconds in between each one. So grab your dumbbells, bring them up to your chest, have your feet shoulder width apart, push them hips back, sit nice and low into that squat and drive up with a tempo of about 2 to 3 seconds down, second hold, and then driving up for for 1 to 2 seconds. And again, we're really pushing for that depth as well. Work the full extent of that leg. Keep the weights as close to the chest as possible. Like I say, I'm using my iPad for the timer today, so we keep glancing down to the floor. You don't need to do that. Obviously, we're going to hit 45 seconds, and then we're into your next exercise. So nice and low. Keep those weights on the chest. Keep that chest up high to do so. Push those hips backwards. Have your feet shoulder width apart. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Next exercise, you're going to bring the weights up to your shoulders. You're going to open them out, and you go into your shoulder press, driving directly upwards above the crown. So 3, 2, and 1. We're going to go now. So you're going to push up towards the sky, making sure there's no lean back as you do so. Fully extend the arms, bring them all the way down to the shoulders, and then going into your next rep. So when you get to the top, hold for a second, a couple of seconds down, take a hold, drive up again. Now it's really important as you do this. I'm going to move to the side so you can see the technique. There's no lean back, okay? So I don't want you to lean back into this. If you are, your shoulders could be tight. Make sure you're not putting that pressure on the lower back. So you keep your knees, keep your hips soft, your core tight, and you're driving those weights up towards the sky and above your crown. So in the next 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so back to those legs now. We're going to work into a back lunge. You've got your weights either side of you. You're going to take a step backwards, decent enough to be able to sit to the floor, then touch the knee to the floor, then come back up again and alternate each time. 3, 2, 1, and let's go. So big step backwards, tap the knee, drive up. Big step backwards, tap the knee, drive up. Standing foot nice and straight, knee in line with the toe. Keep the chest up nice and tall. Flex at the ankle, knee, and the hip. And again, get that steady control, not slamming the knee into the floor, just gently kissing the floor. We'll work 45 seconds, and then we've got another exercise. As you can see, this is a bit of a circuit. There's literally 15 seconds between each exercise before we move on to the next one. We've got 2 sets of different exercises, and then we're going to combine them like I said. Coming into the last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Brilliant. Okay, so next exercise, we're going to get into what's called a bent over row position. So that means that you're going to start the position off like a squat. So you've got your weights. You're going to hinge from the hips, soften the knees, chest up nice and tall, drive the elbows back, get that squeeze, then bring them back down again. Now it's really important that you're over the weights, otherwise it becomes an upright row, not a bent over row. So you hinge from the hips, chest up tall, drive them elbows back. So get them nice and high, keep the elbows close to the body, make sure you're not flexing your spine like this, you're keeping your chest tall, you're pushing your hips backwards, your knees are soft so there's a slight bend in them, you're lifting up your chest but you're not pinching your neck like this, you're glancing towards the floor so the pressure's not on your neck. And it's really important that you're over these weights, okay? So bent over row, you need to be over the weights for it to work effectively. And you're squeezing those muscles in between your shoulder blades, getting the weights up nice and high, then bringing them back down again. Coming into your last 5 seconds, in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. Okay, so the last one, we're going to get down to the floor. And when you do this exercise, to be safe, place the weights actually either side of you before you sit down. I didn't do that there, but if you do so, then when you lay down onto the floor to get into position, it's a matter of bicep curling them up to the shoulders, and then you're ready to go. So all I want you to do this one is elbows nice and wide, nice line from left to right, and you're going to drive up, touch them together, bring them back down again. Okay, so chest press. Again, I'm using the iPad for the timer. So 3, 2, 1, let's lay back, bicep curling weights up to the shoulders and then into that press. Okay, so you bring your elbows down to the floor, you drive the arms up nice and long, you squeeze the chest muscles, you're trying to keep a nice line between elbow to elbow so there's no angles on them, and then when you drive upwards you squeeze your chest together and you bring those weights together as well. We're not going to drive wide like this, we're driving into the center and then back down again, okay? If it's a nice sunny day like it is today, you're going to get a tan with this as well. So really drive the arms up, squeeze the back of the arms, nice and high, working in for 40 seconds, of which we're coming down for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so that's your first round with exercises. We're now going to learn another round of different exercises, then we're going to combine them together. Okay, so grab your weights. First exercise of set 2 is going to be a bear squat. So we don't actually need the weights for this one. It's the only exercise today where we're not going to use the weights. You're going to get into this position on the floor where your knees are touching, your hands are touching. Then you're going to bring yourself up into the plank position and you're going to push into the floor with your palms, bend your knees, bring your hips backwards, and then drive forwards. And what this does, works the quads, okay? We're going to hit this for 45 seconds as we've done with everything else. Get yourself in position, drive back, push forward, okay? So we're flexing at the knees, and then the hips flex too. The hips go backwards, pushing your bum backwards, and pushing your palms into the floor. No weights for this one, the only one without weights today. It really isolates the quads. And this is all because of what we're going to do in the third set. We're going to combine exercises together that work the same muscle group. So the last set's the hardest set. Working in for the last 10 seconds. Get into that plank position each time. Driving forward, body straight. Coming into your last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so next one you will need your weights for. And we're going to do something for the shoulders now. That's going to be a lateral raise. So you've got your weights either side of you. You're going to drive up, get that hold, and then come back down again. So chest nice and tall, weights near your pockets, arms long, up to the shoulders, and back down again. We're going to work for 45 seconds. We've already had a few seconds already. I'll let you know when we get to 45. Let's get them weights up nice and high. Tempo is on a tempo of 2 seconds up, 1 second hold, 2 seconds down. So we've got that control there. You're not throwing them up. You're certainly not using your lower back. Your core's nice and tight. Your hips are soft. Your knees are soft. And you're bringing those weights up to your shoulders. You're not throwing your back backwards. It's all from the shoulders. 3, 2, and 1. So we move back onto the legs now, and we did back lunges on our third exercise. We're now going to do forward lunges. So what you need to do is get your weights. If you're using a mat, get to the back of it, lunge forward, nice and low, tap that knee, drive back, and change over. So we did back lunges, and now we're doing forward lunges. The finishing position is the same. How you get into it is different. Make sure that when you are lunging forward, you take a decent enough stride length to be able to sit into the lunge. You land your foot nice and straight. The knee drives forward down the midline of that foot. You bend the back knee. Bend the front knee, you keep yourself up nice and tall, you sit low into that. Coming towards the end of your second set, we have one more set to go after that. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Fantastic. Okay, next exercise, we're going to work the back. We're going to work into what's called back flies. So we need that bent over row position again, and what that requires is for you to hinge from the hips, soften the knees, keep your core nice and tight. Exactly the same position you had for your bent over row in the first set, but this time, instead of bent over row, it's a back fly. Okay, so you're in this position, you're squeezing your shoulder blades together, keep your arms nice and long, keep the knees and the hips soft, and bring them back down to the original position. 15 seconds. Chest up nice and tall. It's quite a hard exercise, this one. You probably won't use much weight with it. The idea is to keep slight flexion in your elbows, bring the shoulder blades together and squeeze them together whilst maintaining that bent over row position, which is not easy. You'll start feeling this on the legs, certainly the quads, maybe the lower back, but that's just where the muscles are working. We're coming into your last 5 seconds, and in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good stuff. Okay, so your next exercise, you're down to the floor again. Remember what I said about those weights? You're going to put them to the floor, you're going to sit on the floor, and they're either side of you then, so it's safe to bicep curl them out. Now, before I pick up the weights, I'll show you the movement. You bring the weights up, you have them in this position, you open out the chest, let the elbows touch the floor, you bring them back in and you touch, slight bend of the elbow there. So, 45 seconds, Get yourself in position, sit yourself back, and drive up. Slight bend of the elbows, open out that chest, and then close. So you're into your chest fly, okay? Quite a hard one to control, this one. It's very easy to want to drop them arms very quickly, but you've got to make sure you're steady on the way down. And again, maybe 2 to 3 seconds up, you get that hold, and then 2 to 3 seconds down. Don't overthink it. As long as the control's nice and smooth and you're not rushing your reps, try to mimic my tempo here and try to keep those weights in line with your hands, in line with your shoulders. You're opening out your chest, you're allowing the floor to be that little blocker so you don't feel like you're going to go too far. Sometimes when people do this on the bench, one of the concerns that they have is that they're going to stretch the chest. You don't have to worry about with it on the floor, it's the added bonus. And keep that smooth movement, squeeze the chest together as you bring the weights up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fantastic. Okay, so we've now completed our first 2 sets. We're on our last set, and this is where it's going to be harder. This time when we do this set, we're not working for 45 seconds no more. We're working for 30 seconds per exercise, which means that in total, we'll be working for 1 minute. Because remember what I said, we're going to combine set 1 and set 2 together. So it's going to really hit that muscle group now. So first exercise, I'll just quickly recap before I pick the weights up. We were in your front squats, okay, and then we're down to the floor and we're going to do a bear squats. Now I'll try to move smoothly with this so you can follow along, but I'll just keep letting you know what comes up next so you can have a little think about it whilst you're finishing off the exercise. 30 seconds per exercise, and we'll take about 10 seconds in a changeover. So pick up your weights, bring them up to your chest, and get yourself in that squat position, front squat nice and low, and drive up. So we're back to our first exercise of today's session. We're in our last set, so we can really start to push ourselves now, knowing that we're almost finished today's workout. 15 seconds left of your front squat. Your next exercise is on the floor. It's in your bear squat. You don't need the weights for it. So you're going to put them down immediately before you get in position. And it's that plank position that we're going to start off in. Coming into your last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, weights down, straight down to the floor, into the plank position, and drive back into that bear squat. Drive forward, squeeze the quads, keep the arms nice and straight. A little bit of core work here as well. Make sure that you're bending at the knees, you're pushing your hips backwards, and you're pushing your palms into the floor to be able to get that flexion through your legs. And it's like a squat position. If I was standing up right now, when I'm in this position at the back here, it's almost exactly the same as a squat, and that's why this one pairs really well with the front squat. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so onto your feet now, grab your weights. We're now going to get you to go into your shoulder press. So bring the weights up to your shoulders and into your shoulder press. Nice and high, no lean back. Squeeze the triceps to make sure you fully extend the arms. Make sure the head doesn't go forward. You're getting that weight above your crown, and then you're bringing the weights down to your shoulders again with your elbows opened out. Now your next exercise is going to be your lateral raise, and they're the exercise where the weights are by your side and you bring them up nice and high with straight arms. We're coming into your last 5 seconds with this one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, bring those weights down. So weights by your sides and into those lateral raises. Back down to your pockets. Extending them arms, stopping at shoulder height, keeping that chest nice and tall. No lean back on the lower back, no head going forward, no bending the elbows too much. They can be soft, but the arms need to be extended. If you can't do that with the weight that you're using, then obviously go lower. This is one of these exercises where you need a lighter weight. 3, 2, and 1. So we're going to go into your back lunges now. So back lunges, you're in a position where you're stepping backwards into that lunge. Touch the knee to the floor. The stride length needs to be decent, otherwise you won't be able to sit into it, you won't be able to get your knee to the floor. You need to keep your chest up nice and tall. We're going to work in for 30 seconds, and then we've got the front lunges, okay, which is the same movement but forwards, and you're going to finish in that same position. You work slightly different muscles on the legs. When you step backwards into the lunge, you'll feel it more through your quads, and when you step forwards into the lunge, certainly when you push back into the neutral position, you'll feel it on your hamstrings. Okay, so time's up there. If you're using a mat like me, get to the back of it, because you're now going to lunge forward for 30 seconds, nice and low, drive up, change over. That's the hard part. So when you sit into this lunge position, you push back to get into neutral. You really have to work the quads and the hamstrings. So we're coming into your last 15 seconds with this one. And the next exercise is going to be a bent over row, and that's going to be coupled with your back flies. Now this is probably the hardest combination of today's session. It means that we've got to hold that bent over row position for the whole time. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So, bent over row, just recap, you're going to hinge from the hips, chest up nice and tall, drive them elbows backwards. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go. So 30 seconds now, bent over row. I am going to give you a 10-second breather in between each exercise. So I'd recommend once you hit this exercise for the 30, you stand upright, you give your lower back and your legs a rest. You drive your elbows nice and high, chest up tall, knees soft. Now I've used the same weights throughout today's workout. Obviously, you're going to change depending on the exercise. This is one of your stronger positions, so you'll find that you'll be able to lift a little bit more in this one, as opposed to the next one, which is one of your weaker positions. 3, 2, and 1. Stand up for a second. We're going to get back into the same position and do your back fly. 3, 2, 1, and let's go again. Let's not rush your reps. Keep that tempo, chest up nice and tall, hips back, squeeze the shoulder blades together, soft elbows. Excellent, good work. Coming into your last 15 seconds now. We've got one more muscle group to work, which is going to be the chest, and that'll be chest press and chest flies. And again, we're in a similar position, but keep holding this one. Make sure you're right over your weights. Keep the elbows nice and soft. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. We're almost there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we're gonna get down to the floor now for our last exercise before we do our warm up. My mat's running away. So remember what I said about this one. Your weights are on the floor ready. You then need to bicep curl them up. First one, chest press. So lay back, bring the weights up and into your chest press. There we go. So you're driving the elbows up nice and high. You're squeezing the chest together, fully extending the arms, making sure that when you land the elbows, that there's a nice line between the two elbows. Really squeeze the chest together, extend the arms. You're pushing your lower back into the floor. Okay, so there's not this excessive arch in the lower back. You're keeping your head on the floor as well. Sometimes people have a habit of lifting their head when they chest press. We're coming into your last 3, 2, 1. Brief breather for a second. You can do that by bringing the weights down like this, and then you'll bring them up again and into your chest fly. So if you're wondering why I keep looking up and lifting in my head, it's not because it's a part of the exercise. I'm just keeping an eye on the timer. So we're opening out that chest, and then we're closing them arms. We're bringing them nice and high, making sure the weights touch each time, not allowing our arms to drop, just slowly bring them to the floor. The elbows will touch the floor. That's your cue to bring the weights back up and squeeze those chest muscles. We're coming into your last 10 seconds now, and that's today's workout done. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Super. Bring them down safely and get yourself in position for the cool down. So we just hit 3 sets there. The first set, some nice basic compound exercises. Then we isolate those areas and then we combine them. Get the weights right with this one. It's a tough workout. If you do, obviously, exercises such as the lateral raise, back fly, they're going to be your lower weights. When you're working your legs, they're going to be your heavier weights because your legs are your biggest muscle group. Bent over row, chest press, maybe medium weights there. Obviously that depends on the individual. So we're going to now bring it down to your cool down, and we're going to keep it simple. We're just going to use the exercises that we used in your warm up today, but we're going to do them slightly different. We're going to get a hold in them, just so we get the stretch there as well, that static stretch. I'm going to work 45 seconds. So that first one, just to recap, stepping backwards, reaching across the extended side, get that hold and come back up. So with your warm up, we moved in and out of these, not quick, but it flowed. There was no stopping. Today, at the end, with this cool down, I want you to get that hold for 2 or 3 seconds, so we get that bit of flexibility work in there as well. Coming into your last 15 seconds with this one, get that hold, get that stretch through the back chain. It's quite a complex one, it might challenge your balance a little bit. Holding that position. Next one's a really nice stretch. That's going to be that squat reach. In 3, 2, and 1. So, next one, nice wide stance, feet slightly turned out. You sit into the squat, you reach forward, and we're going to get that hold. Remember what I said about the warm-up exercises? The way they're different to the cool-down is that you're going to sit into it and you're going to reach and just hold for a couple of seconds to get that stretch. Legs might be tired, so it's a little bit of extra work on them. We're just trying to promote a bit of flexibility now. Coming into your last 25 seconds. Remember, I'm showing you from the side on some of these exercises so you can see what we're trying to achieve. Pushing those hips backwards, keep your chest nice and tall, extend the arms, sit low. Coming into your last 10 seconds. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We go down to the floor and we go into that child's pose, which is the easiest one to do today in terms of effort and quite a nice stretch as well. Just to recap on that, you're in this position, push backwards, sit in, get that stretch, then come back up again, sit in, get that stretch, hold that position, and then come back up again. And we're just going to increase that hold for a bit more each time. Such a nice stretch for the lower back and the hips. Coming into your last 15 seconds. We're going to do something a little bit different with the last rep. Excellent. This will be our last rep now. You're going to push back into it, sit into it, and just rock from left to right. So get a bit of an extra stretch through the lower back. Excellent. And your last cool down exercise for today, onto your feet. The warm-up exercise we did, we opened out the chest, pushed it forward, turn the hands outwards, get that hold. Bring it forward, cross the arms, stretch the upper back. You can see I'm flexing my spine as well to increase that stretch. Open out that chest again. Close the back. Excellent. Just keep working into that for the last few. So have one more of each. Open up the chest, turn the hands outwards, push it forwards, get that hold. Cross over, turn in, and relax there. Well done, guys. Fantastic workout. Make sure you get the right weights right with this one, so important. Remember, leg exercises are probably going to be your heaviest weights. Medium weight's going to be on your sort of pushes, so your shoulder press, chest press, and your pulls, your bent over row. And then obviously, where we isolate muscles like lateral raises and front raises and chest flies, we're going to go with lighter weights. Hope you enjoyed that and I'll see you soon.